Welcome everybody to the Writer at Work episode 19. This is the second editing session for the Lunar Wolves 2, the Unwanted Strays of Lunar One. As you can see, I've got my cover now. So I went back and on the writing sessions that I hadn't processed the cover for, I've added a new cover. But their backgrounds remain the same, so I can't change that. So this is my new cover by Jake at J. Caleb Design, and we are heading in to the edit. I'm probably not going to talk a lot. It's just an edit. I'm looking for spelling errors, typos, places where I can make the words run a little bit more smoothly and clearly, and putting in my markers so that when I nuke the manuscript, I know where to put my italics back in. So without further ado, I'm going to get back into it. We'll go for about 20 minutes today, and if you enjoy the episode, please hit like. If you want to see more, please hit subscribe, and you should have the details for where you can find this book down in the description. But on that note, I'm going to just get to work. You're welcome to stay. I enjoy the company. Alright, we'll add that to the dictionary. I will occasionally just, if I find something, I'll let you know what I'm changing and why. Just a little bit more clarification. And a little bit of grammar changing. Making sure the subject agrees with the insert. Oh, with the thing there. The booster's the freighter. So for a freighter, I'd have to talk about the booster and not the crew. Anyway, with ship and not the crew. Now with this word change, considering they manned a freighter, we're now talking about the people doing the manning. Any change you make can have a run-on effect, so if you make a change in the wording up here, you've got to just follow through with the wording under to make sure that everything lines up properly. Otherwise you'll have continuity problems. And we don't need to know who Oliver's warning. It's pretty obvious. There's only 2 of them there. Typos. And you got to try not to introduce mistakes when you're doing it. Again, the QQs are there so that when I drop this entire document into a text document, I know where to come back to put in the italics, because the text document is going to strip out all the underlying formatting so that when I start a fresh document, there's not going to be any hidden coding that's going to cause the applications or the platforms processes to snag on the book and cause a problem in the book. So what I do is I do my Word document, and then during formatting I take my entire text in the Word document, drop it into a text document, which takes out all of the formatting. So that's why I'm not bothering with paragraphing in my drafts, because there's no point. It'll be taken out when I do the nuking step. So when you strip out all of the formatting, you don't want to have to go through and try and remember where you put all your italics or where you wanted them. So I mark it with these big double Qs because they're easy to spot. The spell checker doesn't like them, and I can search for them. They're also, if I take them out in a mass find and replace, I'm not going to be taking out letters in words. So if I used a double D, for instance, I could lose some of my words which use double D in their spelling, or double P, or whatever. So double Q is not a formation that tends to be used in English. So when I remove all the double Qs, I'm not likely to destroy any words in that process. And it gives me a quick way to do it. So that's That's why in the editing process I'll add them all in, and that's why this document's called the pre-nuke edit, because I have to remember to put them in as I come across them. But there you go, I'll just keep going. Yes, no word. I do not want a semicolon there. That would be wrong. Because a semicolon is used to divide two sections of a sentence that could each stand alone as sentences. And this part here would not stand alone as a sentence in its own right. So in this case, a semicolon would be incorrect to put in between them. But I do want to pause, so I'm going to use a comma. And Word doesn't agree with me, but Word is not the god of grammar, so we ignore it. Word hasn't done years of university or had any grammatical training, so it does not know better. Its programmers haven't been able to teach it to recognize when a group of words can stand alone as a sentence. I'm not using my caps lock because when I add words in, I sometimes type in all caps if I do that, and I'd rather not have to retype things. So I'm just using Shift. Apologies, my characters do swear. They're mercenaries and werewolves, and sometimes a simple expletive sums up how they feel. Not possession. Doesn't need an apostrophe between the T and the S. I did not mean to pick a sweary section, but anyway. I just picked up what I was up to for the day. Always try and close your apostrophes. Actually, always close your apostrophes. No try about it. I tend, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm writing, I tend to often use words very close together. It's it messes with the flow, so you should try and vary them when you come across it. This is a situation where you could use a semicolon because the cause and effect are really close together. And so you want to pause, maybe as long as a full stop pause, but the fact that the wolves will scent them is linked directly to the fact that the wind shifts. I'm going to stick with my full stop because that works just as well in this situation, but this is one situation where these two sentences could become one sentence with a semicolon and the grammar would be correct. There is no sentence that's correct unless it's started by a capital, depending on if you're making a stylistic point in your writing. And I'm not. That was just a mistake. Clarification was that last bunch of typing. That should be in a paragraph of its own because it's not linked to what Lewis is doing, but to another actor. So a conditional clause, if they didn't, needs a comma after it. Going from passive to active. I missed a Y off the end of they. It's actually a common mistake I make, so it's something that I look for as I go through. Typing too fast, I just drop a letter here and there. Especially in draft, this is why you do a really thorough edit at the end, and even then you won't catch it all. Having worked with professional editors, I can safely say that no one catches all the mistakes on the first, second, third, fourth, or even fifth pass, but you can still end up with a very clean manuscript before you publish. And you should try to. The reason I do all the beginning lines is so that I can then go in and focus on other parts rather than just putting these in. So this takes out some of the distractions, so I can look for some of those other errors without not seeing them. And sometimes I'll go through and just put in all the end cues and then come back and do another pass looking for other things. It's very easy to miss an internal QQ. So what I tend to do is I tend to go as far as I can down the page. And then I come back and I read it properly. It's really klutzy working. We'll just simplify it. Here and here. I just want to vary it. And sometimes you got to make sure you've got your speakers all sorted. And then make it clear to the reader. Too many shuttles in one spot. Alrighty, and on that note, I'm going to leave you. Thank you for hanging with me. Like I said, if you enjoyed the episode, please hit like, and if you want to see more, please hit subscribe. But on that note, I'm going to leave you and keep going. You guys have a really good day out there. If you've got any questions about the editing process, drop them down in the comments. If you've got anything you want to see, please let me know. But I'll check you later. See you around.